And that is a question here, Chris, from Ray's Boom Boom Room that says, who do you think the bottom 5 teams will be 5 through 1? He said, asking for a Panthers fan. So this is apparently Ray's Boom Boom Room is a Panthers fan fearing that a post-Cam Newton Carolina team might not be very good. So last year, Chris, just to remind everyone, the worst teams were the Bengals, Washington, Lions, Giants, and Dolphins. Chargers were out of that bottom 5. Panthers were there. Cardinals were in the mix. Jaguars, Browns. So I don't know. Who do you think? It's tough to say year to year because it seems like every year teams improve a little bit, and obviously teams have gotten better throughout the draft. But who do you think has not been able to escape the bottom 5 currently?
Well, I think if I had to look at teams and, again, everything is positive right now. You're right about that. All right, the first team that comes to my mind right now, it'd be the Jacksonville Jaguars. And there's things on their team I like, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to throw them in that conversation right now. I am, yeah. Hey, I think I'm going to throw the Detroit Lions in that conversation for right now too. I am. There's just too many. I know. I'm sorry, and you're from Detroit, and I'm rooting for them because I know Matt Patricia and Dan Quinn. But again, I just what is the offense? What is their forte? I don't know. Their defense fell apart last year. I know they got new players there this year, but I just don't know what they are as a football team.
The only good thing for them is I don't. The only good thing for them is I don't know that the teams in their division have necessarily gotten better either. Vikings, Bears, Packers, either.
I would agree with that. I'm not going to just – it's not like anybody's running away with that division. The Packers have done nothing this offseason. I mean, we spent 3 weeks talking about that. So, I don't know. Those are the first 2 that jump out to me. Hey, I love the New York Giants, and I think they're headed in the right direction, but they're probably another team that comes to my mind right off the bat. They're trying to get their offensive line together. There's no one go-to wide receiver on the team. They got Saquon and Daniel Jones, defense, a lot of questions there on that side of the ball. I don't know. Those are the 3 that probably jump out to me right away. Dad, you got any other ones that you think of here?
Well, yeah, that's a tough question. And just off the top of my head, I have nothing in front of me. But I think, I got to see the Bengals jump out of that bottom 5 before I believe it. As I looked at their roster last year, I went, wow, it seems like I've been studying the same roster for 10 years. And, they needed – hey, Joe Burrow's going to give him a great shot in the arm and all that stuff, some few new whatever. We'll see. But I still think it'll be hard for them just because the division they play in, the way the league has gone, it maybe hurts. This virus could hurt the young quarterbacks. Joe Burrow's going to be the only one of all of them that's going to start. So that could keep them where they are. So I got to see it to believe it when I talk about the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, and so there's 4. That's probably would be my 4th team I would throw there too. And then, okay, if we're going to make it to round 5, it's Miami or the Washington Redskins. I think it's one of those 2 teams. I have a little more faith in Miami, I guess. I just, again, I'm probably biased here. I'm a believer in Brian Flores, and we saw kind of what they did towards the end of the year last year. I just think he's extremely smart, detailed, and he's tough as hell. I mean, I'd take him in a fight just against any coach in football. Brian Flores is going to come out on top, and it's going to rub off on his football team, and I think you saw that last year. So I think because of that, I probably look at Washington as being that team, and a little bit because of what Dad said. Hey, they're a team that's in rebuilding, right? There's not a ton of offensive weapons there right now, and they have a rookie quarterback who is not getting the benefit of having a second offseason here to grow, and he's going to be learning a new system and new things like that, to where I would probably make the Redskins one of those 5 teams too.
Yep, very good. Redskins, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how they do. I worry about, weapons, young quarterback, and a secondary that was, last year was awful. And, they just – so that's the fact that they got a new coach – really hurts them because, Ron Rivera could kind of set a whole different feeling in the building with the players and all that during the offseason. So he can still do it. He'll just have to do it, of course, if we do get a chance to play. It'll be in a much shorter time period.
And injuries will play a huge part in who ends up being in the bottom 5, as it always does there. And you never know. Seasons can go sideways on teams. You could throw the Raiders into that mix, the Jets into that mix, the Bears, depending on what happens with their quarterback situation.
Definitely.
Well, the Jets, you bring in a good one. the Jets, because, there's still some holes on that football team. And, you just can't look at it and go, wow, we got just these guys that can win games for us. I think they have the second toughest schedule. What does that mean? I think it means a lot. I think that schedule's real. When you play the NFC West and the AFC West, you're talking about going out there. There's no gimmies for anybody when you do that. And so their schedules, once again, it just seems like the Jets. I'm not laughing,
brutal.
But it's just every year you go, oh, my gosh, they got a stretch of 6 games that when you're not a good football team, you can just get disheartened almost right away if you go out there and get wiped out by 2 or 3 of them. It's hard to recover sometimes mentally, physically, whatever you want to say, and belief in your coaches when you go out there and lose a few games in a row to start the season.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.